Hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Mission Critical Marketing for Successful Sales Launch. I'm Jenny, I'm the Managing Director at 4CM, and 4CM is a full service marketing agency and we specialise in manufacturing and engineering. And I'm here with my colleague Alex, who's going to help me launch the Space Shuttle today.
Hello. Yep, so I am the digital consultant at 4CM. I support everything from that's in an online environment, but make sure that we're driving home the most effective digital tactics to drive lead generation. So that's my expertise, and hopefully I can share my tips and tricks to make sure you're set up for success.
Perfect, thanks Alex. So first of all, we find that many of our manufacturing and engineering companies that we work with come to us with a specific need. It's usually during a discovery phase that we do with them where we uncover any underlying issues and reasons why they may be struggling to satisfy that need. In most cases, it's because the necessary marketing foundation work on which to build their amazing marketing campaigns and that will eventually resonate with their audience has been missed. So that's why we thought it was important today to run through sort of our top 10, our countdown from 10 to a successful launch, so that you don't miss any of those really key steps. It's obviously human nature to want to jump to the interesting bit, creating the ideas and the content that's going to excite and motivate your team. But if the groundwork is missing, you risk being completely off target and having to go back to the drawing board, which can be time consuming and costly. So today Alex and I are going to take you through our countdown, whether that's a countdown to a project, product or service sales launch. Every step is critical, as I've said, in your mission to success. And our aim is that you will understand at the end the process you need to go through to target, market and sell to the right audience using the most effective methods. So first of all, number 10 is about knowing your destination. So the first stage on the path to any successful launch is understanding which star you're shooting for. So who is your audience and what do they need or want from you? A customer-centric marketing program improves customer experience and will eventually give long-term business benefits, such as building trust and improving customer loyalty and retention. But for your marketing program to really resonate with your audience, it needs to be relevant and offer a genuine benefit for them to engage with your business. So it's important to do some research up front. And the two things that you're hoping to achieve by your research is to be able to segment your audience and also create some buyer personas. So the first point in segmenting your audience, you'll already have a wealth of data in-house that you've gathered as part of doing business over the years, and it's looking at that data and being able to analyze it so that you can segment your audiences. You can do this through decision makers and influencer roles, so you might have a database of production managers, operations directors that you're talking to, or people in procurement, for example. So it's understanding what percentage split there is of that, so that when you do come to doing your content, you can create topics that are of interest to those different audiences. Also think about what sectors they operate in, where they're based and what markets they serve, how big they are as a business, and also any trends that your data is showing you. For example, it might be purchasing volumes, customer retention rates, etc. So think about why segmentation is important. It allows your marketing team to tailor your marketing resources. For example, if you've got a customer who is in food and beverage manufacturer, you may want to segment them by how many sites they have across the UK and in terms of what interests they have. So they might be interested in hygiene and safety, for example, or cost savings and improving productivity. So the more detailed information you can gather, the better you'll become at appealing to them. Then you can identify what your sales team can realistically service. So you're not going to be able to do everything at once. So what is your low-hanging fruit to help you grow your business? So identifying who that is also really important. And then you want to look at qualitative research. And this is where you can find out and be able to create your buyer personas. And the types of things you'll be wanting to find out are why they want your product and service, what they're using it for, what does it help them achieve, why did they choose you over the competitors, why did they like buying from you, and what would they change. We've found that the easiest way to get this information without guesswork, because you really do want it to be factual information, is to actually speak to some of your existing customers and find out why they came to you and do a little bit of qualitative research with them. Some clients of ours can be reticent about talking to customers because they feel like they should already know those answers to those questions. So sometimes it's better to ask someone external to the business to do that for you. But it really, we find that customers are always happy to talk. So it is something your sales teams could do as well. And you'll also find out sort of what influences different roles. So production managers and procurement and IT are going to want and need very different things, and that's where you can build your buyer personas. Buyer personas are really powerful tools, and we do find that sometimes companies put buyer personas together but then actually don't use them. It's really important to use them at the different stages of the customer journey, and it helps you put different types of content together. So understanding motivations, likes, dislikes, and interests. And it also helps humanize your content that you're creating, so that you think of your customer as an actual individual who has sort of needs and wants. Also, it will help inform your strategy going throughout your interactions with customers. So that you can, build awareness with them, nurture them, and eventually turn them into a loyal customer. Over to you, Alex.
Brilliant, thank you. So now that you understand who you would like to connect with or speak to, it's then about understanding what environment they're exposed to online and offline. And a big chunk of that is your competitors. So to really understand or to gather data that can support you in optimizing and changing any processes you have in place, I have 3 buckets of tips. So one is connect with your crew on the ground. And what we mean by that is you have sales crew and individuals that are out there, they're connecting with prospects, and they're hearing the information that those potential prospects are being exposed to, i.e. from their competitors, whether it be what they saw on their website, or maybe they're competing against a new contract. So those little tips about how that prospect is comparing your company to a competitor is information you can then take in to support out USP development, the way you reflect a new product or service on your website, just to counteract that perspective. Then there's online discovery. So if your competitors are being found quicker and easier, i.e. they are ranking higher when a particular keyword is plugged in, it's identifying why that is. Are they representing that keyword or phrase more often on a web page? Do they have specific content that's supporting that keyword or phrase, and how you can counteract that as well? And then also what we've labeled social selling or social outreach is looking at those prospects' personal profiles, i.e. through LinkedIn or even Twitter or even Facebook, depending on where they're more active, and just see what they're saying around the industry. So are they engaging with third-party content and that's perking up their interests? Are they engaging with competitor content? And then you can kind of take those bits of engagement and use that again to counteract where your competitors might not be as big or loud and proud. So you're beginning to drive that conversation first. You're beginning to make your website rank first. So right away, that puts you in the upper hand for a better and more successful launch.
Then point 8 in our countdown is understanding what your USP is and formulating your messages. So your USP is your unique selling point. It's the key thing that differentiates you from the competition. If you can't identify it and easily communicate it, it is going to be challenging for your marketing team later on to be able to tailor communication. So it's an important part of the sort of strategic work that you'll be doing. Ultimately, if you can't communicate it well, it will be also difficult for your sales team to convince customers to buy from you rather than the competition. Your brand, your USP doesn't have to be about what you sell. It could be the way that you produce it. It could be your pricing structure, your company culture, or even how your business came into existence. It just needs to be something that sets you apart from the competition, but will make sense to your customers and can be easily understood and communicated by your employees. How you identify your USP, one of the best ways is to do a SWOT analysis to rate your business, product or service features and customer benefits against those of your competitors. And then following that up with a body of work to do sort of a simple tick box matrix where you can put the customer insight that you've gained during the research stage and prioritize each point of difference against the audience types and buyer personas. This will help you form your messaging. You know, because what may be a priority for a food and beverage customer, for example, they might be interested in hygiene, may not be priority for an oil and gas sector customer. And the same is true of the different roles. So what may be important to procurement, for example, total cost of ownership, may not be a priority for a production director who is more concerned about performance. So it really does help you sort of formulate your messages. And you should do this around different parts of your business. So think about your technology and your products. What do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for having innovative, robust, price competitive products? Your people, is there a story there around the breadth of knowledge they have, the experts in their field? Think about your business as well. Are you a traditional family business? Do you have lots of heritage, or are you a new, agile, innovative business? Think about how you serve your customers in terms of customer service. Do you offer consultancy, training? Do you support their growth through cost savings or improving productivity? So there are lots of things to think about. Also, what's your environmental story? Do you have one internally for your own business, or is it more about helping your customers be more environmentally friendly? So lots to think about, and when communicating your customer messages, it's also really important to be clear and concise and use simple language. Make sure you highlight customer benefits, and also make sure any of your claims are factual and that you can back them up with proof points and evidence, and of how you can alleviate those customer pains. Some really good examples which you'll have heard of, they're oldies but goldies. The Ronseal, it does exactly what it says on the tin. This is a really clever message because it's instilling trust in the customer that Ronseal isn't hiding anything from them and that all the information is there at their fingertips. The Man from Del Monte is another favourite. The USP here is about quality and freshness. So the fact that the fruit is picked and packed the same day. And not only that, but the Man from Del Monte knows exactly when it needs picking, so it's showing that there's expertise in the business. So that's just to sort of humanize it and give it a few ideas of what messaging might be around your business. Understand you might not manufacture paint or grow fruit, but it might give you some ideas. And the final thing to do is test your messaging. So does it resonate with your audiences? Test it with your employees. They'll be really honest and provide great feedback, your customers and also your suppliers. It's particularly important to get your sales team on board because they're the ones who will be talking to the customers about it. And again, does it highlight that customer benefit? Can it be communicated without having to have a paragraph explaining it or putting it into context? And does your messaging get the desired response? Is it understood quickly and easily? and does the audience instantly recognize the connection with your business?
Lovely. So now that you've understand who you want to talk to, what's happening in the lay of the land, and you have a secure message to support the launch that you're trying to project. Now it's about bringing it home, making sure that your team is set up for success and truly understands the cohesive value that this new product or service is going to give to your customers. And in order to do that, it is about connecting the two departments, i.e. marketing and sales. And that seems pretty straightforward, but it actually is a bit of not friction, but it can be a bit of a challenge. And it's something we see quite often with our clients. And where we've seen the most success is when these two departments are aligned, because the ground crew, i.e. the sales, is engaging with customers and obtaining data, looking at information that the customer or the potential prospect is sharing, and gaining that information and context about the prospects. They can feed that back into marketing, which then the marketing team can translate that on the website, marketing materials, emails, to really personalize that conversation and become relatable to the prospects, which is the quickest way to see success. And the 4 areas that we see challenges occur is just the lack of accurate and shared data. So as I said, the sales team is understanding what their prospects are really interested in. They're getting comparative information against competitors based on conversations. And the marketing team is looking at data in the back end of Google Analytics, what's happening on the website, what's the online behavior. And those 2 bits of data need to be aligned and looked at to understand opportunity and gaps. Then communication, just opening that line of communication, which also translates to point 4, is encouraging that feedback loop. We need to understand that when a sales team member is face-to-face, what's working and not working? Are they not feeling supported? Do they have the right sales materials? And also, what conversation does the marketing team really need to capitalize on to translate that back into web copy and content? And the reporting challenges, what does all this data mean? How can we really look at what is working and not working? And we need that in a visual and data format that's presented in a nice dashboard or a weekly or monthly report. So you can kind of keep drawing that line in the sand and have a benchmark to work towards every single quarter. And when a tool that is great for that, to help with all 4 points, is HubSpot. It's fantastic to track and monitor behavior via emails with prospects. So as the sales team sends out emails, we can see that data. Any marketing campaigns feed back into HubSpot, and it automates a dashboard that everyone can log in at once. So everyone is aligned at what is working and not working. And all that data will help help the team understand what is the best style of conversation, what content is the best, and also what's the right channel in order to attract the right people at the right time.
And moving on to point 6 and channels, the channels you use will be determined by 3 different points. The first is, what are you trying to achieve with the content that you're getting in front of your customers and prospects? So are you trying to increase awareness? Are you trying to improve recognition? Are you wanting to educate your audience or generate leads? And there are different channels that work in better in different ways for each of these. How you determine your channels is how your audiences like to find information and how they like to view it. So what type of content do they prefer to take in? And you'll have already found out both of those when doing your customer and competitor research stages. HubSpot recently carried out a survey of 1,000 marketing professionals and found that 92% of marketers use more than 1 marketing channel and 81% use more than 3. And this is known as omni-channel marketing. And the great thing about omni-channel marketing is you can repurpose content to use across different channels so that you're getting the most out of your investment. The top 3 channels used by B2B marketers are social media, and unsurprisingly, LinkedIn was reported as the most effective channel. Users like to be able to see what's going on in their industry, and they have the option with LinkedIn of networking in targeted business groups. And it also provides a great opportunity for targeting both through marketing with organic and PPC campaigns, and also sales through LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So that's a really popular one for B2B audiences. Websites is really important as well, and can help deliver real, relevant organic leads. It's your shop window, and by implementing an SEO strategy, you can get those fantastic new business inquiries. But Alex will go into in more detail in a moment. Email marketing is the third one, and 40%, almost 40% of marketers said e-newsletters are critical to success. These are really good for educating your audiences because it's specific to you. You have control over it, over the messages that you're putting in there, and you can cover quite a lot of information in different email campaigns. The key advantage to all of these channels is that they're proactive and can drive lead generation. There are lots of other channels, as you can see in the omni-channel diagram that we showed earlier, but we'll be covering the pros and cons of those in a separate blog, so keep an eye on our website.
Okay, and as Jenny mentioned, the website is a critical part to anything. So even beyond your launch, it is the home base to a lot of marketing and sales discussions. And to understand the health of your website, to really benchmark what needs improving and when, or if it's actually in a really good place, there's 4 areas that I would say to focus and zone in on to make it quick and easy. So ease and user journey. And what that means is, are individuals finding your website and finding what they need easy? And the rule of thumb is that in the digital world, someone should be able to find what they're looking for in 3 clicks or less. So making sure that they're not having to bounce around, that there's clarity in the navigation bar, that there's engaging call to action buttons at the relevant pages to make sure that they can extend their research if they choose to do so to get additional context. Then easy to digest. Structuring web pages and the content on your website in a way that is quick and easy to understand purpose. So bold headlines, bullet notes, visuals to support the message you're trying to portray. All of that will make it quite easy for someone to scan and understand the purpose of that page, especially the home page. You don't want to lose individuals or have that high bounce rate. You want them to stay and want to click more. So that's where structuring it in a way that if you think someone's scrolling on their mobile phone, they have a very short attention span. They're probably bouncing around, walking to work, whatever it might be. So having that bold headline that's relevant to the challenges that they're facing, or having that really bright, engaging image, will really attract and keep them on your website longer. And then easy to find. So is your website set up or have a proper SEO strategy that it's easy to find when someone is doing a bit of online research? So identify those keywords that maybe your competitors are ranking for, as I said in a previous slide. What are some market trend words or phrases that individuals are looking for? So is there a new innovative term, i.e. the Internet of Things, industrial IoT? Is there something that you can coattail and make sure that your website is present when that conversation is happening online? And then engaging. So beyond the structure, look and feel, and everything's easy to find, structuring those buttons where appropriate to learn a little bit more. You can have brochures, case studies to just drive home that additional value to the point you're trying to make. And having that engagement, making sure people are on your website and making sure it's being found easily are all contributing factors to what is called a website authority score. So the higher your score is, the more favorable it will be by search engines. And the score ranks from 0 to 100. In the industrial and manufacturing sector, it is quite common to rank between 30 and 40. So it seems quite low, but that is actually quite common. Even in the B2B, it's quite rare to be above 60. And to put it in a digital context, Facebook's not even at 100. So it's hard to get to that number. But if you're in a sweet spot between 30 and 40, that's really good, but there's always opportunities, and it is critical about user behavior. So is the bounce rate quite low? So 50%, between 50 and 60 is about a sweet spot. Anything above 70 is the danger zone. Are they flipping beyond pages? So not just leaving once they're on the home page. That means engagement is high. And then if you're ranking for a certain set of keywords, that will also contributing to you having a decent score. So all in all, that authority score is something that is a solid metric just to help you to benchmark the health of your website, where you're against on competitors and where the opportunities are.
So point 4 in our countdown, we're almost ready for launch. This is where you need to get your flight kit ready. So think about what sales content you've got. The difference between marketing content and sales content, I'm going to use a football analogy here. Basically, your marketing content is your midfielders. So they're running up the pitch, they're getting the fans excited and they're moving towards the goal. And your sales content is what is going to hit the ball into the net and convert the sale for you. So if there's any football fans out there, that one's for you. In terms of the types of sales content that there are 2 different types. One is internal sales enablement content, which is developed to support your sales team and help them sell. And this includes sales presentations, sales scripts, and technical research-backed white papers. And external sales enablement is for your prospects and customers. So that's to equip them with the information they need to make an informed decision. And that includes content such as sales brochures, catalogues, case studies and testimonials, anything with sort of evidence of what you're doing well, and product videos as well. So sales content creation process should be a collaboration between your marketing and sales team, but also with some input from product specialists or engineers as required. And when building awareness and starting to engage with your audience at the introduction stage of the sales funnel, so that's the top of the sales funnel, or TOFU, the type of content your sales team will want to put in front of prospects is information that acknowledges that the industry issues are and shows how you've got the expertise and know-how to offer a solution. So that might include white papers and technical articles. And then as you nurture prospects through the funnel, in the middle of the funnel, you need to offer consistent sales messages, but in different ways, and offer expert advice as well. And this gives a great opportunity with webinars, videos and blogs to sort of give exposure to and position your sales representatives and engineers as experts in their field. And as your prospects move close to the decision making at the bottom of the funnel, where you're wanting to connect with your audiences on an emotional level, and promote your product or service as an urgent necessity to overcome the dreaded status quo. This is when it's time to hit your prospects with case studies and product demos that they can use internally to overcome any internal barriers with influencers, you know, any barriers that they might come up against over the purchasing process. So at the bottom of the funnel, you want to create confidence that they're making the right decision. If the marketing groundwork that we talked about earlier is lacking, this is really where the sales team could come seriously unstuck. So things to action: in good time ahead of your launch, you want to do an audit of your existing content and make sure your toolkit is replenished and good to go. You'll want to make sure that those compelling messages you've developed as a result of your research and messaging work are included. And you'll want to make sure that you have a mix of internal and external sales content to support your sales team, but also convert those prospects. And finally, make sure you don't have any gaps in your toolkit for the different stages of the sales funnel.
Okay, lovely. Now that you have all the pieces of the puzzle in place, it's about giving your launch longevity. So beyond the excitement and materials that are leading up to this successful launch, it's about how can you connect with the prospects on a regular basis, just to nurture, expose, and really drive them through that funnel that Jenny just showed us. And the easiest way to do that, and the most effective way, is through campaign development. And what embodies a campaign are personalized landing pages. And what I mean by personalized is, after you developed out those personas, you should have a general idea of the core challenges specific to that job role. in the specific industry. And I would highly recommend developing a page that's quite specific to that person with their challenges and present the solution that's specific for them, or re-angle it in a way that they can relate to. That is the quickest way of success. People like to feel understood. They like to feel that they're not being generalized. So it is creating that personalized landing environment. And the best part about a landing page is it doesn't disrupt your core website. It lives behind. So you just use inbound tactics or any targeted paid for tactics to drive them to it. So it lives on the back end. So you don't have to restyle or be worried that it doesn't speak to the wider audience. It's about creating multiple landing pages to direct the right traffic on the right channel. And then a great way to nurture those individuals and drive home the conversation from all of the phases of a research or sales cycle is emails. So the first email could be more about the awareness and excitement of the launch. The next email could be about, here's a brochure to give a little bit, excuse me, a bit more detail. And then the next one could be about setting up a call and if they'd be willing to speak to an individual. So you've warmed them up to a contact. And then social media is a chance to be loud and proud. It's about driving that conversation, really portray yourself as a subject matter experts that supports the product or service launch. People are interested in the why of what makes this product or service so special, so different, so exciting. So social media is a less formal way of portraying that. And again, going back to the easy, digestible way of presenting information, social media highly encourages you to do that. And then paid for ads, it gives you the opportunity to target the right people. So at the back end of LinkedIn, you could put in industry, job title, get really specific to a particular location in the country or worldwide. And then you can put in interest keywords that they've typed in. You can exclude certain criteria and demographics as well. So you're really targeting the right people with the right messaging and driving them to the specific personalized landing page. So it's a great way to continuously keep communication and exposure to the successful product or launch that you would have had.
So we're almost there, we're almost at lift-off stage, and we don't want to let ourselves down. So the next thing to think about is visual checks, and this is all about visual content. The common forms of visual content are infographics, videos, pictures, diagrams, charts and slide decks, and you can use these in lots of different ways. The visual marketing is really effective for bringing data and information to life, and it's great for getting shares on social media and also backlinks and traffic to your website. So it's all really important for engaging with your audiences. Other marketing benefits of using visual content are that it helps you stand out from your competitors and is versatile and can be used across those different channels. It's also quickly and easily be repurposed to micro content. For example, the designs that we've created for our webinar, we've used them on social media, we've used them on our website as part of the landing pages that Alex was talking about earlier. So you, like I said, you can get the most out of your marketing resource and budget by reusing it as micro content. And visual content also gets a quicker response from your audience because they can process and digest the information much faster, and it makes you more memorable to them. It also pays to look good. McKinsey carried out a recent study, which was the business value of design, where they tracked the design practices and financial data of over 300 companies for a period of 5 years, and they were companies in medical, technology and retail banking industries. And they found that good design positively impacts your bottom line. And that's whether you provide physical goods, digital products or services. So it does really pay to make the most of the great information that you've got and present it in a really impactful visual way. We found that throughout the last couple of years with the pandemic, that there was a huge increase in the use of animated video, for example, because we weren't able to do sort of live interviews or pieces to camera. But they're now coming back in, so it's great to be able to get your customers in front for example, in front of a camera and have a live, you know, a video case study, or have a video of your facilities as well. So it all brings it to life and personalizes it for your audiences.
All right, after all of that, you now have liftoff. And what that means is, after the successful launch, it's a chance to be loud and proud in what I like to say in uncontrolled areas. So use publications, use your membership opportunities, or look for membership opportunities, look for events. All of these are external channels to expose the launch of the new product or service. Also give other individuals that might not know of your brand a chance to understand who you are, and get excited and come back to your web environment or campaign to learn a little bit more. Events during the pandemic, not so much, where you could have that face-to-face discussion, but hopefully now moving forward, it's a great way for your subject matter experts to share the excitement, share extra detail, maybe the technical aspects that maybe aren't so web friendly because they're not easy to digest necessarily, but a chance to necessarily expose. So in summary, it's a great opportunity to be loud and proud about all that effort you've put in and really showcase the value that you can give to potential prospects and be the solution for many challenges that they have. And a digital bonus is that if you do start looking at press opportunities, put articles in external publications, and it drives traffic back to your website, those are backlinks, which is the gold to boosting that authority score that we reviewed before. So all in all, that external effort is just as important to the controllable channels, i.e. your website or social media. So really look at those opportunities to drive home the success from a digital perspective, as well as the external reach to connect with prospects that you not normally would have the opportunity to do so.
So we hope this has helped galvanise the process you need to go through for your next launch. Skipping a step in the countdown will mean you are missing critical points for a smooth flight. But if you've already done some of the groundwork, go back and do your final checks to make sure you're happy and ready for liftoff in your mission to success. As mentioned, in the coming weeks and months, we will be covering each step in more detail to support your success, so keep an eye out for future blogs and webinars. I think there is a question about the channels that were used most by B2B marketing professionals. We will be sharing the presentation with you guys, so you'll be able to see what those are. But they're a combination of sort of paid, earned, shared and owned channels. Obviously, earned channels, it really adds weight because you're getting sort of third-party you know, commendations through influencer and word of mouth and media relations, but it does pay to use a mix, as we've said already, through omni-channel marketing. Okay, thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the session. And like Jenny said, you will get a follow-up email which will have the recording of the webinar should you want to go through it again or share with anyone that you'd like to share. That would be great. Thank you very much. Have a great day.